Hi guys, I just listened to, I'm going to try and keep this as professional as possible. Okay, we know that probably won't happen, but here goes. I just listened to Ray Hadley interview Kevin Rudd on 2GB. And I was just going to talk about a couple of things that happened on there. Now, the first thing I noticed when I was listening to it was the PM kept referring to Ray Hadley as mate. And I thought, who's he trying to fool by calling him mate? You know, he's trying to come across like the typical Australian and being all matey and that. Buddy, we know you're not our mate, so you can drop the pretense right there. You're not your average, everyday, kick-around Australian. So don't even go there. And then I was listening to Ray Hadley was getting into emails later. And apparently a lot of people picked up on the fact that he was calling him mate. So that didn't really go down well at all. The other thing he kept saying was the buck stops here. Now, every time the government screws up, he goes, oh, well, you know, ultimately, I'm the boss, the buck stops with me. Is that meant to reassure us that the buck stops with you? You screwed up and it's just meant to be, okay, the buck stops with you. Well, fix it, buddy. We know the buck stops with you. So fix it and stop sitting there saying the buck stops with me, because that's not good enough. We want more. We don't want somebody just sitting there saying that to us every 5 minutes. We know it stops with you. One of the topics I brought up was the meat. What they're going to start doing now is they're allowing Australia to import meat from, or they're allowing other countries to import meat into Australia. Now there's a couple, and so Ray Hadley said, you know, they have mad cow disease overseas, etc. Now what I don't understand about this is Australia has some of the best beef in the world. Why on earth are we bringing it in from other countries? Also, we export it. So it means we have a lot of excess, one would think. So why are we bringing in beef from other countries? And I think one of those countries is China. Hello? You know, we all know what their country's like. Just go and have a look at their rivers and everything over there, polluted, the corruption in that government over there. And they're allowing their beef into our country. We have massive amounts of land here, more than enough for all the cattle, all the beef we could ever want. Why on earth would we allow other people's beef into this country? Excuse me. The beef thing. Now, he also said and so Rudd turns around and he says, well, he gives a whole list of people that say that it's okay, you know, that think it's a good idea for the beef to come in. And one of them is the FSA, the Food Standards Australia. Now, like we're going to believe that because they say it's okay, these are the same people that allow all the chemicals in your food on the shelf today. Saccharin, aspartame, the list just goes on and on and on. So that's meant to reassure us that they say it's okay? I don't think so. The other thing I found very, very, very curious was that the Beef Association saying that it's okay. Now, what pops to mind may not be true, but who got paid off? Because that doesn't make any sense to me. And when I go out on Sunday, I'm going to ask all the butchers that I can find what they think of us allowing beef from other countries into this country. Now, what was our... the other thing that Rudd kept bringing up was they do this all the time, and it is so annoying. They can constantly bring up that the last government did this, the last government did that. Well, the last government, buddy, left you with a lot of money, and you have run us into the ground. I am sick to death of hearing what they said they were going to do. I don't give a rat's ass. Okay, there goes the professionalism of it. I don't give a rat's ass what the last government said they were going to do. I care about what you're doing to us now. I don't care what somebody said 10 years ago that they promised to do. I care about what you promised, and you aren't delivering any of it. The other thing was, there's something, this wasn't in the interview, but it was on the news the other night. It's about the land. Australia, the prices of the houses in Australia is exorbitant, to say the least. They screw us over something absolutely, it's criminal the way they screw us over for land and housing here in Australia. It should be so cheap, but what happens is the government buys up pockets of land in the urban areas, and then they release it at their own leisure, keeping inflated house prices up. And now they've said that they're not going to release any more. Now, why did they say that? Just let me think for a second. They weren't going to release any more because somebody else wasn't. They're literally holding the Australians at ransom here, saying, well, you allow this to go through, or we're going to not allow this land to be released. So what they do, and they do this anyway, is that they, like I said, allow little pockets of land to be let out, little bits of houses to be built bit by bit, and that thus keeping the land up ridiculously high. And in this day and age, people can't afford these prices. They are absolutely over the top. And what they did was they gave out these grants, homeowner grants, and so now all these people are going to be in debt. It's just, that's a whole other topic. And then the other thing was, a whole other topic on its own too, is the insulation here in Australia. That's just a farce all on its own. 1.4 trillion, I think, was given for that. Trillion or billion? Billion, sorry, not trillion, for God's sakes, not trillion. Billion, 1.4 billion was given out for that. So, but that's a whole other topic. So that's just basically what I wanted to say about, I was sitting there and I can't help myself. Rudd opens his mouth and I just see through his lies straight away. And he's so arrogant. He's still trying to push through this emissions tax despite everybody being against it, despite his credibility going through the floor. He's still busting his ass to get that through. Anyway, guys, that's all. I just heard him on there and I was just sitting there making mental notes to myself, and I thought, I'm going to make a video on this. Anyway, you guys smile and have a nice day.